Agile story point prediction. Well, Agile story point estimation is kind of a very important concept in Agile software development. What it does is every time when you got a new feature, we call it we cut it into ticket. Actually, it was called the user story, but we just say it's ticket. And you got the ticket. The team will decide. Let me just show what a backlog look like. This is usually when you're doing the software development. We'll see. This is called a backlog, and every backlog has this one line. This is called ticket, and ticket is described what you're gonna do, what you have to fix, or what you have to make in this software. And usually you have this kind of meeting to the teammate will decide how much this ticket will do, how much time, how much workforce in this ticket, and the unit of this kind of workforce for us was called story point. So why it's very important? For example, if one team can finish the story of one project, you can finish 25 points maybe in a week. The next week probably the team will also finish 25 points of the story points. So the project manager can guess that how much feature will be implemented during this 1 week, the forward week, and the next week. But consider this problem. If your boss come to this project manager, said that I want to implement something, and can you just directly push this feature into the backlog, into the top of the backlog, and when will it be finished? And normally the project manager will say, how about I make a meeting and everybody to decide this. But actually it's not easy to realize, and it's too time consuming. So my idea was how about we use deep knowledge tracing to find out the problem. But a little bit different is that deep knowledge tracing can only get the correctness or incorrectness of the answers. So when you get a question, the deep knowledge tracing can only know how much percent you answer this question correct, how much percent you answer this question wrong. But I got another kind of theory, which is called item response theory. This theory is not totally like the deep knowledge tracing. So the problem is on the student's ability. For example, if we mark this difficulty of the question is high, low, medium, and when the student answer a high question, difficulty with high question, he's got a score 3, and then this theory will give the student a lower, maybe a low question or maybe a medium question, to test if the student can get a higher score in this lower difficulty, and to know the student ability. So combine the knowledge tracing and item response theory, I can guess scored a great marked ability of a team. So how do we mapping this? First, we got a series of questions, and then we label the question with the difficulty, and also in the training data, we'll also have to mark the ability of the team, which is a story point here. And then there is a new ticket count. You can the model when you mark the new ticket, maybe it's hard or easy, and the model will guess the story point. And in the actually reality working time, probably you don't know about high and the difficulty of the ticket, and the difficulty still have to predict by the model, and which here I'm using k-means to make clusters. For example, the content if it's just a fixed typo in the project, that would be very low level difficulty. If it's I will add a new feature, and this feature will include a lot of people to work on that, it certainly be a high difficulty. And if this is a widget, the widget is already existing in the system, I just move it somewhere else, it can be considered as a medium difficulty. And then we already know the story points and mark this story points. So if there is a new ticket, the project manager will know will know how much the story point is, and he will guess the story point range based on the model, and then also the team can also make a meeting to adjust this new story points. So here you can see it's based on this study. It's called Deep SE. They collect all the open source issues, and here is the models. This is the issues of model, and I used some old issues. I think it's 1,160, and I used 80%, 20%. The 80% is used to here, it's 88 to use to train, and the 222 is used to guess, to predict, not guess. So here is a very interesting part. Why do I say guess a lot? Because this is kind of guessing. It's like a frequency level comparison. But I should really change this way, because right now the large language model comes here, and large language model to me is more like guessing. The hallucination is too much. Well, when we're doing this neural network thing, this is more data driven. Well, large language model also data driven, but it's different, totally different data scale. That means our the neural network data scale is totally focusing on the domain knowledge, and but the large language model just focus too much, and this is why it will cause hallucination. So I go back to the topic. How about we randomly pick one feature, and I have two ways of estimating the based on the keyword of the title, or based on the cluster, which is using k-means. And originally this ticket was was used 20 story point, but based on the keyword, it predicts it's 2 story point, and based on the cluster, it predicts on 1 story point. This is the problem of the reality problem, is that the training model is not skills enough. How about we see some other ticket here? This ticket allows teachers to specify certain fields and certain fields in database activity as required. So estimate based on the keyword, it got 12 story points, and the keywords is general. And estimate by the cluster, it got 3 story points, and the cluster is user and authentication management. So many people will already know the problem is that the problem is the label of the story. Here is the labeling is done by the Google Gemma E4B, I remember. So it's just generally summarized what the story should be, but the story should be summarized based on the difficulty. So that's why the model cannot predict correctly, but this is good enough for the presentation, because right now I just want to make this concept work, and this concept actually works.